And as long as we can be in alignment with his peace, there is nothing that can shake us. There is nothing that can throw us off our course. There is nothing that could make our paths crooked, but we have to stay in the perfect peace, which is his peace. Hello, YouTubers. This is Dr. Marnita on Fire. Welcome back to our channel, P3 Purposepreneur TV. We are so excited today. And as you already know, I am always looking for that purposepreneur out there, because what we believe at P3 Purposepreneur is P3 Purposepreneurs are pattern makers, and pattern makers are move makers. And so I'm so excited for more than a few reasons. First and foremost, for our guest is going to be sharing with us today her amazing story, but also both of us just came off of the ILS conference 2023, Valiant Leadership. And she totally embodies the essence of being a valiant leader. And so what we do and what I try to do is I try to seek out people who are walking in their purpose, because I am all about thought excellence. Thought excellence is so important to me because it allows you to be the person to make a being choice. You decide to be someone who can do the things so you can have what it is that you want. And that's important because making a being choice helps you to recall, reveal, and realize your ultimate potential. So for positioning and for your purpose, and so you can create prosperity for yourselves. And I think that I have ran into the one. Sharina is amazing. I met her, as I said, at the leadership conference, and it's amazing how God connects people together. We didn't know anybody from a bottle of salt. We met in IHOP. How interesting is that? We met in the IHOP, and just to give you a little backstory on how that happened is, it was crowded. We were on our break and I was looking around. There were so many people in the lobby, and there were groups of 4, 2, 3, 1. And more than often, there was a lot of us in the restaurant that were just there by ourselves. And the waitress was sitting people. And what I began to recognize is that this waitress was sitting people, one person at a table, and it had multiple chairs around the table. And I just kept thinking, I said, like, what a waste. So what a waste for an opportunity to begin to connect with people who you don't even know. I said, so when she calls my name, say my name, say my name. When she calls my name, I am going to see who would be open to sitting at a table with me if there's an extra seat. And sure enough, the lady called my name and there was a seat. She sat me at a table and it had an extra seat. And so Sharina just so happened, and y'all know it's nothing like just so happened, but she was standing right next to me. I said, girl, do you want to sit at a table with me? And that is what started this connection, which I do believe it was an assignment for both of us. We'll share with you what happened after we ate, because we both went into this same session. We didn't know we were going to be in the same session. And I'll let her tell you that part of the story, because that in and of itself was like, I had to hit myself up over the head. But she can explain it so much better. So without further ado, I am so proud and honored to introduce you to Sharina Tidwell. Did I get that correct?
Yes,
and what I want to know, can you just tell our audience first where you're from?
Okay.
And actually, let's start with where you're from. Kind of like a little bit, not a lot, don't give them a lot in the beginning, a little bit what you do and how you ended up at ILS 2023 this year.
Gotcha. So I am Sharina Michelle Tidwell. I am from Hampton Roads, Virginia. Lived there for 38 years. Just relocated to Atlanta, Georgia. Been here over a little bit over a year. My profession is I'm a believer and I'm a business person. So I'm a believer that does business. I'm not a business person that's a believer. So I'm a believer that does business. And I am the, I guess, operator, owner, CEO, founder of Shireen Tidwell Productions Worldwide. We are located in Hampton, Virginia, Atlanta, Georgia, and Houston, Texas, with plants in Los Angeles, California, and New York in the next 2 years. And it's a care company, and we just provide products, goods, and services. And then how I ended up at ILS 2023. So I've been going over the last 5 years, every year, and I realized from year to year that I've developed, I've elevated, and I've evolved. So of course, I don't want to stop attending. So I continue to attend, and over the last 3 years, it's been really rough for me. However, I just put one foot in front of the other, keep showing up, and God keep speaking up and giving me new assignments. And I just keep plowing and gleaning and getting back to work. So I look at it as being, instead of being destroyed, I was developed. And I feel like I was developed in the dark. And now God is saying, hey, we need you now.
That's amazing. And one interesting thing that you just shared with us is that you have these multiple satellite locations of your business, and you're in the beauty industry. And I'm just coming out of the beauty industry for almost a quarter of a century. I mean, it's just amazing how this all works. So I'm coming out of it. I meet someone who really has a passion for it and is creating legacy in it. Can you share with our audience, because you don't start a business and then next year end up with multiple site locations. So can you tell us about like where that inspiration came from to even get into the beauty industry? Because we have a lot of people out there that's listening to us today that aspire to be exactly where you are, but it started with, I'm so sure it started with motivation and a vision first.
It definitely did. How I got into the hair industry was I couldn't afford to get my hair done. And my grandmother raised me and she couldn't afford to get my hair done. So I was purchasing just for me relaxers from Family Dollar, and I would do my hair. And people were complimented as a young girl. I would think I was in middle school. And then I went on to high school and I started doing my silk wraps and everything. So they started wanting to pay me to do their hair. So for $25, I would buy just for me for $5 and get a profit of $20 because I would charge them $25 and they would have a silk wrap in high school. After that, I realized that I could earn some quick cash, and it was legal, and it didn't take a lot because it was effortless for me because I've been doing it for so long. So I decided after high school, I wanted to be a hairstylist. So of course I went on to cosmetology school, didn't want to finish, but I was informed that the only way that I won't have debt is if I complete the course because I had a grant and I don't like debt. So I was like, I gotta finish. So that pushed me to finish. But I also enjoyed the income, and I realized that I was earning income before I even was qualified to earn income. So once I got the certification, I knew I could do more and it would give me multiple streams of income. So that was in 2004. So I've been a hairstylist since 2004. I know that one day I'm going to grow old, so I can't stand behind the chair forever. So I started thinking about ways to increase my income without having to be behind the chair. So I began to do training classes and training courses. I developed a hair care line called Beauty Billionaire. I have two lines, Trillionaire Tresses.
Wait. Did you say Beauty Billionaire?
Beauty Billionaire, a hair care
Oh
line.
my God, I like that name in and of itself. Girl, say that one. Yeah, that one. We're going to come back to Beauty Billionaire just in a little bit, but I'm going to let you finish.
So yeah, so I went from a hairstylist to now owning Beauty Billionaire because I didn't want to stand behind the chair forever, and I didn't want to be tied to depending on people. So I wanted to make sure I had multiple streams of income in that one field, that one gift. So that's how I became a hairstylist.
Wow, what an amazing synoptic story of your transition from where you started to where you are right now. Because often when we go into the beauty industry, we have this idea of productizing something in that industry where what we can sell. Can you take us on the journey of how you came up, first of all, How'd you come up with the name Beauty Billionaire? I love that.
So
Girl.
I've been I've been a part of personal development for a long time, and a gentleman said you are what you think about. So I've always told myself I wanted to become a millionaire, and then when I moved to Atlanta, I saw something that said Gig Illionaire Girls. So I decided to create a group for younger women called Gig Illionaire. So it was just like a trend going with, and then I have a new club called the Mommy Millionaire Club. So for single mamas who went through things like me, we now have a club so they can have that support, financial, housing, utility support that I didn't have. So we have the Millionaire Meta Club, which includes millionaire moms, millionaire men, baby boomers, and then the grandparents committee. So when I decided to do the hair care line, I said you might as well just keep up with the heirs. So I created Beauty Billionaire.
That's amazing. You are prophesying your future. Like every time you say a word, say that word, girl. Every time, like it was like John Hannah said, like the Lord is attracted to sound. Like you be saying that, you speak that into existence. So I love that that product, like Beauty Billionaire, is amazing. And as you're talking, I remember one part of the conversation that we had. I was telling you that I was reading Proverbs, and I was talking about wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. And even as we continue to have this conversation right here, in Proverbs it says that wisdom builds the house. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then it says understanding establishes the house. And then knowledge goes into all the rooms of the house and are filled with precious and pleasant riches. Just think about that. I mean, and based on your story. So if we're sharing this with the world, which we are, what, and it also says the beginning of wisdom is to get wisdom, because that's what builds the house. So if we had to talk about wisdom, I really want to break this down a little bit. If we had to talk about wisdom, I mean, this is so good. If we had to talk about wisdom and how it built your house, what could you share with our audience? Because understanding is the assimilation that establishes the assimilation of wisdom, which establishes your house.
Yeah.
And then you have to fill the rooms with knowledge. So it's really not just a one and done, is it? Let's start with, right? Let's start with the wisdom part first. So there is young people, or there is like people out there that's looking for another way to walk into their passion. Their passion may be in the beauty industry, and it may not be here, but it may be some component of the beauty industry. Mm-hmm. What kind of wisdom would you have to share with them in order for them to begin to build their house?
I would actually, at this point in my journey, talking to my daughters who are 21 and 16, I would actually take it back a little bit further to truth instead of wisdom, because I feel like I had wisdom and I feel like I had knowledge and I feel like I had a support system, but I wasn't getting the truth. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't make sense to have wisdom, knowledge, understanding if I don't have the truth first. So when I found out about the truth, I'm like, okay, well, I feel like I've been bamboozled, like something was missing, or maybe they didn't know or whatever. So I went on a journey for the truth. And I realized that maybe everybody have their own thing going on. So what do I really need to hearken to? And when I thought about it, I said, who has nothing but the truth? That would be Jesus. So I thought
say that girl, say that.
I thought that I could go to like my pastor, my bishop, my grandmother, my auntie, my cousin, and everybody gives me their peace. But then I'm like, it's still something, it satisfied me for the moment, but I'm still hungry. I'm still thirsty. I'm still looking for something. So I wasn't fulfilled until I asked Jesus to reveal my purpose. And he woke me up in a dream on November 11th, 2020. And I shared with now my ex-husband a drawing, and I explained the drawing to him. And it was God revealing to me what my journey was about to look like if I didn't take this window of opportunity and pivot. That's when I realized there's power in your pivot. And if you're not in a relationship with God and spend time with him and know his voice, you'll be left out back. So I made a decision that me and God is going to spend time every single day at 5:30 in the morning. And I did that, and we showed up. And then he said, I want you to talk to the world at 7:30 a.m. And that's where my podcast came in. And that was almost 3 years old. And it's like me meeting God in the morning and then God releasing me to meet the world at 7:30. After that, he's like, you can do whatever you want to do for the rest of the day. Here's your assignment. This is where you need to be. I'll show up there and I'll reveal to you what I need you to have for the rest of the day. And when I go to bed at night, I'm peaceful because I feel like God said you did well today and our assignment is complete. So before wisdom, I had to get the truth. And even though it removed some people out of my life and there was a lot of toxicity that I wasn't aware of until I started walking in my own truth and start believing in myself. So when people say you can't do, I did it on purpose to show them that when you trust in God, you can do, and you don't have to, be illegal about it. You don't have to go. I'm a stickler, and I tell my kids all the time, we do everything with ethical, moral, legal, and righteous, and we mess up. We flawed. I'm a basket case from time to time, but I'm grateful that God is carrying my basket and covering my case. So he also explained that, we are worth far more than rubies. So now my question to him is, what is better than rubies? And it expounded on, I'm wisdom personified. So what is wisdom personified? So my prayer this year is multiply wisdom, multiply wealth, and peace that surpasses all understanding. That's all I want, God. And as long as you never leave me or forsake me, we're going to always be all right.
Girl, you are amazing. And that is so true because he is the Prince of Peace, correct? So as long as, and he is in each and every one of us. And as long as we can be in alignment with his peace, there is nothing that can shake us. There is nothing that can throw us off our course. There is nothing that could make our paths crooked, but we have to stay in the perfect peace, which is his peace. And so it's different from what our perception of our peace is. And once I realized that, I began to, there's no reason for worry. You have more courage. And I was reading something the other day as it relates to, because I see you as an amazing leader.
Thank you.
I do. I really do see you as an amazing leader. And it talks, and what I was reading, it was talking about there are like these 5 attributes of leadership. One is love. A leader has to have the capacity to love from the heart. Also vision. A leader has to have the ability to have vision, to have sight, because if you can't see where you're going, you go nowhere, like you're blind to the path. And then enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is really in God, right? It actually, that's it. Greek terms, that's what it means. And then to have inspiration, which is the 4th attribute, meaning to be in spirit, is spirit in action. So you can't be inspired and not do anything. And then the last one, which is the 5th one, is intuition, which is the inner voice guiding and directing you. Girl, you're so good. Like, and I see all of that in you, because there is no way that you could have gone from doing hair on, for those of you who know, like grew up as Black girls, like we do hair on the porch stuff, like we be braiding and charging like $5, and from that to having multiple sites for your legacy, like to impact the world, to spread your influence, and to help others level up their prosperity and teach them how to be sustainable in this season in which we're in today. So first and foremost, I thank you for your leadership, because I see you as being amazing. One thing that we were talking about in the restaurant, you had mentioned something to me, and I said I was going to ask you about this because it really kind of hit you hard. You said oftentimes you had a season that you went through where you didn't really, because you weren't getting the support, and I'm paraphrasing here, that you thought like people would appreciate like where it was you were going. You began to shut down from sharing that because you wanted to include other people. You want them to be as happy for you as you were for you. And so at some point you just started stop telling them because you felt you were being arrogant. And I remember saying, girl, that's not arrogant, that's awareness.
So the question is, just
So
to
the
make sure I'm
question
clear.
is, and I know you're not there right now because I can feel it. The question is, how does one transition from feeling a sense of arrogance, which is the evil spirit? That's just the devil saying, like, you being arrogant, because arrogance has this negative connotation. How do you begin to go from there to redefining that in a way where, no, I'm just aware of what God has placed in me?
So I think well, I'm not gonna say think. I believe it's challenging for I'm gonna say it was challenging for me because I know personally that I'm not an arrogant person, but talking about myself, it seems arrogant. So I rather just like, keep it. And then what I do seems so effortless that it's not like work. So when people ask me what I do, I feel like I don't have a job, if that makes sense. So people are like, what do you do? And I'm like, do I say hairstylist? Do I say I work at Chick-fil-A? Do I say I'm a CEO? Like, how do you put it all together? So that's why I came up with, I'm a believer and I'm in the business industry. And then when they go on to say like, exactly, and I say we have a care company and we provide goods, products, and services. I think just keeping it that simple, unless they want more, then I'll give it. But the people that I was raised around or the people that seemed to support me, they made me feel as if I thought I was all that. So, it was hard for me to express how I really feel. It was hard for me to be excited for myself because doing that in their presence, it made them feel, I guess, I don't know, angry, jealous, envious. So I would just have to be like, I just do hair. Or, I'm just a hairstylist, or and I always used to say, I'm just, until you said, no, it's not just, but I
I
feel
did say that,
comfortable.
didn't I? I said, girls, take that just out of your vocabulary, because you're not just in, like, you are a child, you are a queen of God. You have been given a dominion and to subdue your territory. You are all that.
But to hear somebody else say it sounds great, but it also feels weird because I feel like I'm still in like the end of my transformation. So going from like being beat down and like a caterpillar on the ground to a transformation of becoming a butterfly, and now I'm at the end stage where it's like somebody has actually told me like, hey, it's okay to be successful. Like it's okay to walk in what God told you could have. So now I'm surrounded by new people and I've shut the old down. So now it's like I feel like I've been developed in the dark and I'm still trying to, catch. It's like, an eaglet and your eagle mom saying, okay, it's time to get out the nest. And they push you out and at some point you figure out how to fly. So now my thing is, okay, I'm stable, but am I okay here? And I want to go higher, but am I afraid? And do I want to go back and down low and reach and help other people? I want to do all those things, but I don't want to do it out of season and I want to do it without God. So I'm still kind of like, because I'm like, okay, God, is it time? So I know who I need to share with because he'll bring them and he'll make it happen.
Speaking of making it happen, it's a perfect segue into the next part of this conversation, because I shared how we met in IHOP and we thought it was like, that's it, we'll connect when we get back home and, so on and so forth. But I'm gonna let you share what was next.
After lunch.
Yes, after lunch.
So after lunch, we parted ways. I went to the restroom. She went on across the street. However, we ended up in the main ballroom or the main arena with over about 10,000 people. And somehow she sat right in front of me. And she sat down and I was like, I know this is not Dr. Marnita. It's not Marnita. And I remembered the colorful scarf and I tapped you on the shoulder and it was you. And I'm like, how did we end up in the same section, right, and with all these seats all over the place? And when the gentleman began to share and speak, we looking back at each other like, we just said that. We just talked about, you tell me God ain't divine. Oh, yes, he is.
Girl, we were prophesying over lunch. We had no idea. One, like you said, we would be in the same room. We had no idea Dr. Anita was speaking right then in that session. We had no idea that she would be talking about awareness. We had no idea she would be talking about capacity. We did not know. We were just like speaking that into the existence that we were about to step into. Isn't that amazing?
That was
And
interesting.
we were sitting like I was in front of her and she was in back of me. She was tapping me on like, get it, girl. Yep, yeah, we talked about that.
But yeah, it was good. It was good.
So if I had to ask you, what's next? What's next for you?
What's next? So we kick off our summer tour July the 9th in Hampton, Virginia. And we are doing a 7-city tour. And our last stop is going to be in Austin, Texas on September the 13th. And we're going to roll right into Sarah Jakes Roberts' Woman Evolve. So we get ready to kick that off in July. And we're still establishing Houston right now. We launched Atlanta last year, Houston this year. And then after Houston next year, we're going to do Los Angeles. And then the year after, we're going to do New York. So I look forward to doing that in the next 5 years so I can really be at peace and rest and just enjoy my children and my son-in-laws that's coming and grandkids.
That's amazing. So if anyone that's listening to us right now, this conversation was so full of like just knowledge and so full of inspiration and, the will, to move forward and to walk in it. I hope that our audience is really getting, they may have to do a replay on it. I don't know. I might have to replay it myself. But if anyone wants to follow you on your tour, how do they do that?
I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, both of those heavily. My name on Facebook is Sharina Michelle Tidwell. And then on Instagram, it's the @ and then the real Sharina. If you connect to those two pages, you'll know everything we got going on. We have multiple pages and YouTube and all that, but to stay consistent and connected, those are the best two pages to go to.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna post her links in the comment section. So feel free to connect and follow her. Trust me, you do not want to miss out on what she has coming up in the next 6 months as she walks into her greatness and continue to, she almost reminds me of the Apostle Paul, planting tents all over the world. So girl, stop. Don't play with me today.
Look, I just read this morning, Isaiah 54, verse 2-4, enlarge your tent. And he talked about the curtains of your habitations and fear not and don't be ashamed. Like, I got you. So you saying that, I'm like, okay, Jesus, I'm ready. As long as you with me, I'm ready.
Yeah, ain't he good?
He is awesome.
He's good. So I'm going to put Sharina Tidwell Productions links in the comment section. Make sure you connect and follow her. And is there any last words that you want to leave with our audience?
Yes. It's good to know who you are and whose you are, but that's not enough. What you want to do is find out who you are in Jesus and who he is in you, and look at yourself through the lens of Christ and realize that your physical life runs parallel with your spiritual life. So go there spiritually before it manifests physically.
Perfect. And I'll leave you with this one last, leave our audience with this one last kind of like poem, like I would like to close us out with. I think is very appropriate for our conversation. And that is, if you think you're beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you would like to win, but you think you can't, it's almost a clinch, you won't. If you think you'll lose, you lost. For in this world you'll find success begins with a person's will. It's all a state of mind. With that, we out, my people. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, connect, and don't forget to go to the comment sections and follow Miss Sharina Tidwell Productions as she continued to plant her sites all over the world with her beauty billionaire products and so much more. With that, I hope you visit us next time as we have another amazing conversation. And thank you for being with us today on P3 Purposepreneur TV, where purposepreneurs are pattern makers and pattern makers are move makers. Until next time, see you soon.